Hi, my name is Olga Sirbu. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst and licensed behavior analyst. And in this video, I'll talk about aggression-remorse loop in children with autism. But before we start, as always, I would like to encourage you to give this video a like and hit the subscribe button below so you can benefit from weekly information on the subject of autism. Aggression in children with autism spectrum disorder can be a distressing experience, both for the child and those around them. But what many people fail to see is the deep sense of guilt and shame that can follow those episodes. For many autistic individuals, aggression is not intentional but stems from a disconnect between the mind and body during moments of extreme distress. Understanding this cycle and recognizing how guilt manifests differently in autistic children is key to support them effectively. Let's try to understand, why does the aggression-remorse loop happens? First, as I mentioned, is the mind-body disconnect. During an aggressive outburst, a child with autism may know they are hitting, kicking, or screaming, but their brain struggles to process the consequences in real time. The immediate need for sensory or emotional release overrides their ability to understand the impact of their action on others or their surroundings. Second reason of the loop is the delayed processing. After the episode ends and the child begins to calm down, they may start processing what occurred. This delayed awareness can lead to overwhelming feelings of guilt and shame as they realize the harm or disruption caused. Third thing that we see and is part of the loop is the expression of guilt. Guilt and remorse in autistic children may not look like it does in neurotypical children. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry," or showing remorse through typical gestures, an autistic child may cry or engage in self-injurious behavior, withdraw, seeming non-compliant or distant, engage in heavily steaming, such as rocking, whining, mooning, crying, as a way to process emotions. Unfortunately, those behaviors are often misunderstood. Some caregivers or professionals may misinterpret them as manipulative or additional autistic behaviors rather than recognizing them as expression of guilt. So, how do we support a child that experiences the aggressive remorse loop? First suggestion, acknowledge their feelings. For example, after an aggressive episode, you noticed your child crying and pulling at their hair, you sit beside them and calmly say, "I see you're upset. It's okay to feel this way. Sometimes big feelings can be hard to handle, but we'll work through it together." By labeling their feelings, you help them understand their emotions without judgment. Second suggestion, create a safe space for processing. After an aggressive episode, allow the child time to decompress in a quiet, comfortable environment. Provide tools like weighted blanket, noise-canceling headphones, or preferred sensory items to help them self-regulate. For example, your child starts hitting themselves after an aggressive outburst. You gently guide them to a quiet area in the house where they have access to calming tools like a weighted blanket or a noise-canceling headphones. You can say, "Let's take a break here." You can wrap yourself in the blanket and use your headphones to help you feel better. Third suggestion: encourage emotional expression in a healthy way. Teach alternative ways to express guilt or remorse. For example, use visuals or communication cards with phrases like "I'm sorry" or "I need help processing my feelings." Encourage drawing or writing about their feelings if verbal expression is difficult. Normalize emotions by modeling statements like, "Sometimes I feel bad when I hurt someone, but I can say sorry and try to do better next time." An example from my practice here is after a meltdown, the child struggled to articulate their feelings. You hand them a laminated card with emojis and phrases like "I feel bad," "I am sorry," "I need help." If they point to "I'm sorry," you can say, "Thank you for telling me. It's okay to make mistakes, and I'm here to help you." The fourth suggestion is to address aggressive behaviors proactively. Identify triggers. Keep a record of when aggressive episodes occur. Look for patterns related to sensory overload, changes in routine, or unmet needs. Develop a safe plan. Create a plan to redirect aggression safely. For instance, teach the child to hit a pillow instead of themselves or others. Build coping skills working with a BCBA or therapist to teach strategies like deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or use a calm down card. For example, you notice your child becomes aggressive when transitioning from playtime to dinner. To reduce this, you use a visual timer and say, "In 5 minutes, we'll clean up and go to the table." Fifth suggestion, and very important one in my opinion, is avoiding planned ignoring. Ignoring a child's behavior, especially during moments of guilt or distress, can exacerbate their feelings of isolation. Instead, gently engage with them in a non-judgmental way. Focus on their need for connection and reassurance, rather than viewing behaviors as manipulative. For example, after an aggressive outburst, your child starts crying but doesn't make eye contact. Instead of ignoring, you sit near and say, "I see you're crying. I'm here if you want to talk or if you just need a hug." 6. Teach emotional regulation. Here you can teach the child to recognize and name their emotions through tools like emotion charts or social stories. Practice co-regulation by modeling calming techniques during stressful moments. For example, during a quiet time, you use an emotional chart with pictures of faces showing happiness, anger, sadness, and so on. You ask your child to point to the emotion they felt during certain moment, like, what did you feel when your toy broke? We, parents, therapists, caretakers, often struggle to understand autistic expressions of guilt and remorse, which can lead to frustration or misinterpretation. It's important to bridge this gap by learning their language. Just as autistic children works to understand neurotypical communication, caregivers and professionals must also strive to understand the ways autistic individuals express emotions. One last thought. The aggression-remorse loop is not a sign of a child being bad or manipulative. It reflects the complexity of autism and the unique ways in which children on the spectrum experience and express their emotions. By approaching those moments with empathy, patience, and understanding, caregivers can help their children navigate guilt and build healthier ways to regulate emotions and behaviors. Translate every meltdown or aggressive episode as an opportunity to grow together and strengthen the bond of trust and support. Thank you for watching and listening. Please leave your thoughts and comments below this video. I'll be happy to hear from you and see you in the next video.